Banjo Land, Mike Hedding here, coming to you today with just a little melodic banjo lick lesson. We're going to focus on a single melodic lick that'll get us moving around the neck. And sometimes it's good to focus on just a single lick that you can use in a bunch of different songs and kind of try and get it into your lick library, again, where you can use the lick in a bunch of different songs. I'm going to assume that you know the basic G major melodic scale, so this is going to be a little bit more of an intermediate level lesson. But if you don't know that scale, check out the lesson I did, Intro to Melodic Banjo. But I'm going to assume you know the basic G major melodic scale for this lesson. All right, let's jump into the lesson. Let me play the lick and then we'll start breaking it down. All right, so here's the lick. Do that a few times. I'll do it slower. A little faster. Alright, so this is a great melodic style lick. It's going to get us transitioning from this melodic scale up into this position, and then we're going to transition back down. So it's a really good one to kind of practice transitioning from up higher on the neck and down to back down to your lower melodic position. And I'll show you how to do it both ways, okay? So we're going to start up in this shape. We've got our pinky on the 12th fret of the first string, our thumb wrapped on the 10th fret of the 5th string, and then our first finger on the 9th fret of the first string, and our second finger on the 10th fret of the second string. And we're basically just going to walk down those notes. And if you're talking about the degrees of the scale, we're going down in a 4-note pattern. So we're going the 5th note of the scale, 4, 3, 2. And then we're going to do that pattern again, 4, 3, 2, 1. So we're kind of, sometimes they call it a folded scale or a scale pattern. We're basically going down in a series of notes. And this is really good for licks because it's kind of pleasing to the ear if you play a little pattern of notes. Think of it like 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know, you're basically starting one note higher and then going up in a pattern. In this case, we're doing it descending, so we're starting on the D note. We're going D, C, B, A, and then we're going to go down those same next 4 notes, 10th fret on the 5th string, 9th fret, 10th fret, and then open 5th string. So if you're playing it single string, it might make more sense. So it's, see how we're going down 4 notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're going down, starting 1 note lower and going down 4 notes, and then we're going to start 1 note lower and go down another 4 notes. So again, it's just a little scale pattern that you can use. So we're going, let's even just practice that first little part. It's also good thumb practice. To get the 5th string, I kind of fret it more down here, and you just have to get around your spike if you have one there. So that's what we're doing there for the first part. The other note that it's important to note too is this 12th fret is the same as the 5th string, the 12th fret, so you could also do it that way as well. I'm not doing this here, but that'd be another good note to know, just so you have that note there. Instead of, it's the same lick, but you could also go. It's just good to know where those duplicate notes are, right? Because in case your 5th string's not freed up, now you have that same note, right? So same thing, let's try it again. And then we're going to go down 4 more notes. So that one we had, again, with melodic, it's really good practice because we're not going down. You know, you go down in a weird way. So we're going 10th or 9th fret on the 1st string, 10th fret, open 5th string, down to the 7th fret on the 2nd string. So I would practice these in a series. So practice measure 1, and then practice the beginning of measure 2. And then we're going to go down 4 more notes, 7th fret on the 1st string, open 5th string, and then down to this position. So we have, and this is another very common melodic position. So what I want you to practice here is basically transitioning these two, your first and second finger, from 4 and 5 on the first and second string, up to 9 and 10. Those are basically the two positions we're working out of. And then we just go down the scale. We break the pattern here, and we're going to go down the scale. Open 5th string, 4th fret, 5th fret, open 1st string, 5th fret on the 3rd string, open 2nd string, 7th fret on the 4th string, and then open 1st string, and then thumb on the 3rd string, pinch. That's just a filler, so we have... And that's not straight down the scale, but we just did a little lick there. So the whole thing sounds like this. Pinch, repeat. A little faster. Okay, so let's look at a couple places that you could use that lick. So, well, actually, one more thing, what I would do is separate the two hands as well. So the other thing you could do is, if you're having trouble with the lick, is pretend they're all zeros with your left hand and play just the right hand. So make sure you have that part down and then add the left hand back. Okay, so this is kind of a, you can hear it's kind of a descending run. So it's pretty good to kind of go back home to G, right? So one thing you could do is, if you're up in your C or D chord up here, for example, you could try rolling on that C or D chord and then doing that little lick kind of back to G. So let's try it from a C. Let's do 2 forward reverse rolls on our C movable chord. And I'm going to end with my thumb just so I free up my middle finger, because the other thing that's important is, when you're learning a new lick, to put rolls in front of it or behind it, right, we have to make sure our middle finger in this case is freed up. That can't be the last note of our previous roll, otherwise we won't be able to play that lick, right? Because the lick starts with our middle finger of our right hand. So really important, we have to make sure that roll ends with either our thumb or our index finger, so then we're freed up to play the lick. So let's just end with our thumb. So maybe you're up in your C, maybe I do 2 rolls on a C. Or I could do it, instead of the pinch, I could do a scruggs lick too. You could also do it on a D. So really, any of these chords up here, I mean, you can really do it anywhere, as long as you're again, you just have to make sure your last roll right before the lick doesn't end with your middle finger. Okay, and then the other thing I like to do is, remember, this pattern is just one pattern. So the other thing you could do is get familiar with each shape and position, right? So maybe I think of this as one shape. I think of this as one shape. I can even think of this as a little position. And I can think of this as a position, right? So the other thing I like to do is, in case I don't play the lick exactly as planned, get familiar with those positions. So maybe I start here and I just see what I can come up with. And it's not obviously going to be perfect at first, so maybe I'll try up here and see what I can come up with. Or maybe I start here. I'm just seeing if I can come up with a lick. Or maybe I start up here. That's kind of like how we played it. Maybe I start here. Maybe I go backwards. Because the other thing I just have to figure out is how much time I have to kill. You know, I could also stay up here longer. You know, so I can use these same ideas and now create my own lick. I found for me it's not going to be realistic to... I use licks as a jumping off point for my own creativity, right? It's not practical, at least for me, to memorize 50 licks, 100 licks, right? So what I like to do is, again, is I think of these as positions, and then I just trust my right hand to come up with something. You know, maybe I do a triplet. You know, and I'm just experimenting. I'm throwing a lot of stuff at the wall. It's obviously not all going to work perfectly at first, but what I'm doing is getting familiar with a position that I can use to play in a real-life jam session. If you just know one lick, you know, if you forget it when you're at the jam, or you forget it when you're playing along with the practice track, you know, you're kind of screwed. So what I like to do, again, is think of these as shapes, and then I trust my right hand and my musicality, hopefully, to just create a lick. Again, maybe I add some more chords. D. Or, like I said, maybe add a little scruggs lick at the end. So even if you just modify it slightly, it still sounds okay. Just, again, you're thinking of getting from here eventually down to your open third string. As long as we get down to that last note, it'll sound all right. Maybe I go into a C. You know, or maybe I'm up in this E minor. Maybe I'm working like this scrug shape. So I didn't play it exactly there, but again, I'm using these as positions to come up with my own licks. So even where I can play it as written. So again, what I would do is practice the right hand on its own, practice the left hand, and then practice it both directions, like I said. So do a descending style lick. You could also go... right here too, or end with the fifth string and try and go up. You're just trying to use a lick to start your own creativity. Hey, let me try it this way, let me try it that way. That's really going to reinforce that you know a musical idea, and then you started with a lick, and then you got a musical idea, right? A lick on its own is only good if you know where to use it and how to change it and make it your own. All right, so give that some practice, and hopefully it helps you out. All right, good luck. Keep picking.